faster than I ever ran in my entire life. My lungs were burning up and my feet were full of lead pulling me down, but I ran. I couldn't stop, couldn't hesitate for even a moment, not when I felt like the entire world was chasing after me. Why? What did I do to deserve this? Any of this? I was paranoid, sure, but who wouldn't be in my situation? What I wasn't, though, was crazy. I was sane. It was them messing with me, making me doubt my memories. More calls came as I ran home, but I didn't even bother to check the phone. I couldn't stop. When I finally arrived and locked myself inside, I saw they were all from Amy, predictably enough. She made about 10 calls and sent a few texts as well.
Please, Clancy, come back. I don't mean you any harm, I swear. I just want to help you. Think about your parents. Think about Sarah. Hell, think about yourself.
No, I told myself. I need to wait for Marcus. I need to last for just a little while longer. He'll be here any minute now, and he'll sort this shit out. I looked out one of the windows to see if anyone had followed me, but they hadn't. Still, that didn't mean I could stay put until Marcus returned. I was too easy to find. I was a sitting duck. I needed to either hide or get on the move. No place to tuck myself in came to mind, so I'd have to do the latter. I changed my clothes, dressing in some of Dad's old tracksuits and jackets. They were baggier and did a better job of concealing my face. As I did that, I tried to decide where to go and what to do. I couldn't wander the streets aimlessly. I had to stay among people, to blend in with the crowd, and hopefully have a shot at calling out for help if I was found. But my town wasn't very big. We didn't have malls or busy districts. Some bar then, I decided. We had a few of those, and they were rarely empty. So I left the house and headed for the farthest bar I could think of, hoping it would be the last place Sarah and Amy would check. I kept my head down on the way there, trying my damn hardest not to attract attention. When I made it there, half an hour later, I let out a sigh of relief. I went in, found a table in the back of the room, and made myself comfortable. It was one of those sports bars, always displaying some game or another, I'm not sure. My mind was in an entirely different place the whole time I was there. The waitress came over after a few minutes, but I didn't notice her until she cleared her throat to get my attention. Oh, I jumped back. Sorry, I had a crappy day and was distracted.
That's okay. Will you have anything?
Sure. Bring me a beer, please.
Any preferences?
She asked. Whichever one you have, it doesn't really matter. And keep an open tab. I'm waiting for someone, so I'll be here a while.
Okay, I'll be right back.
She wandered off to serve the other patrons, so I got busy with my phone. It finally hit me that it had no password, even though I distinctly remember setting one up. Another thing that Sarah did to mess with me? Was my memory really failing? I decided it didn't matter at that moment, so I set a new one and texted Marcus. They're trying to get me. I'm on the run. Call me when you get in town and we'll meet up. The waitress returned a few minutes later with a mug of beer. Then she was off again. I sipped from it occasionally, but my focus was on my phone, watching seconds turn into minutes with bated breath. The finish line was within reach, and I couldn't wait for the terror and paranoia to be over. I was tired. More episodes of microsleep came and went, but no one seemed to notice or even care. But they left me worried, as they caused my attention to falter. About an hour later, around lunch, Marcus finally texted back. Seeing the notification pop up on the screen got my heart pounding faster, chasing away the fatigue for the meantime.
I'm almost there. We'll probably arrive near sundown.
I felt relief washing over me as sundown wasn't far off. I only needed to last for 4 or 5 more hours at most, and I was confident enough that I could do that. I didn't feel watched here, didn't feel observed, so it was safe. All I needed to do was to stay awake, to keep the beers coming, and I wouldn't be kicked out of the bar. So long as I sipped from them slow enough to not get drunk, I'd be fine. Amy tried to contact me again. More calls and texts spread out over the remainder of the day, but I didn't answer. They were mostly the same, variations of, "Where are you?" and "Come back, Sarah's worried." Time flew by, and before I noticed, it was getting dark outside. The sun touched the horizon, draping the world in shades of orange and red. My phone rang again, and to my utter delight, it was Marcus. Bring the tab, please, I said to the waitress before I answered. Hey.
How's it going? How are you?
Marcus asked right away. Tired and paranoid as hell, but I'll manage.
Good, because I might need you to pull an all-nighter. Help me out.
The waitress brought me the tab, and I did a double take at seeing the price. Will do. Can't wait for this to be over with, I answered, pulling out $30 and handing them to her. Keep the change.
What was that?
Nothing. Don't worry about it. I got up from the table and walked towards the exit, re-energized by the hope coursing through me. Where do you want to meet up?
Pick a place and I'll be right over. I'm entering your town now.
Okay, let's...
Wait a sec. A cop car just got on the road behind me. I think they want me to pull over.
Damn, were you speeding? We don't have time for a ticket right now.
I wasn't. It's...
Marcus was cut off by a loud crash. It sounded like metal bending and glass shattering, almost deafening even through the phone's speaker.
The fuck? They rammed me.
Shit, get away.
I'm trying, but they're after me. They want to run me off the road.
Another crash, this one even louder. Marcus cursed in the background, and the sound of tires screaming on the asphalt followed.
I don't know what's going on. I'll call you back.
No, wait! The call ended abruptly, leaving me stunned. What the hell was going on? I left the bar, lit up a cigarette, and paced back and forth in the street as stress consumed me. Marcus was so close. He was right fucking here. He wouldn't fail. He couldn't fail. No, he'd get away, and he'd reach me, and it would be fine. Yeah, he'll be fine. He's a goddamn monster hunter. A couple more minutes passed with no sign from him. I finished the cigarette fast, but I lit up another one right away. I needed to distract myself, to keep calm, to not let the paranoia sink in. It couldn't get its teeth into me again. I wouldn't allow it. I refreshed my messages constantly, waiting, feeling my breathing speeding up. A notification came, and with it, another text. Reading it felt like a gut punch. The floodgates broke, and the tide of terror I struggled to keep at bay flooded me. I felt lightheaded and dizzy, shaking on my feet as if the world around me spun out of control. 4 words. 4 goddamn words in an incomplete text.
Run. There's more of...
I tried to call Marcus a few more times after I received his last text, but just as I suspected, he didn't answer. He was either captured or killed, leaving me on my own. The calls still went to voicemail, however, so his phone was still active. Whoever ran him off the road likely took it, and I could use that to my advantage to buy some time. Will do. I'll leave town right away. I'll be walking along the main road in case you can follow me. Hopefully that was a convincing enough red herring, sending them on a wild goose chase that would give me an hour or 2 to sleep. I desperately needed some of that, to clear my mind so I could think straight. Making any decisions, forming any plans in my current condition was a bad idea. I was aware of that much. Seeing that in the forefront of my mind, I made my way home. Many people passed me in the streets, and I felt their eyes on me when I wasn't looking their way. But I remained calm. Sort of. I reminded myself that it was paranoia, that I was slowly going mad from fatigue and stress, not that all of it was real. Some of it, maybe, but certainly not all. I needed to remain rational to the best of my abilities. I got home without incident. No one followed me, and I found the house still empty and locked up like I'd left it. The current plan was to sleep a bit and then head out of town into the wilderness. I'd set up camp somewhere remote, far away from everyone and everything, and use that time to rest. Dad had some bare-bones camping gear that he used to go fishing, so I could use that. Although it wasn't much, it would have been useful. I found it all stacked away in the garage. So I threw together a hasty bug-out bag to have it ready. A small fishing tent, a flashlight, some matches, and cans of food, but no weapons since we didn't have any. A firearm would have been really useful, but this will have to do, I thought as I retrieved the crowbar. I didn't plan to use it for hunting or anything, just to defend myself until I made it out of town. With the preparations complete, I barricaded my bedroom by dragging a heavy drawer in front of the door. The window I left unlocked, just in case I needed to make a run for it. My room was on the first floor, so the jump down wouldn't be too bad. Being in an actual bed after the last few days was absolute bliss. I can't describe it. I fell asleep so fast that I almost didn't get to set an alarm to wake me up around midnight. It went by fast, however, and this time I finally had some dreams. Nightmares. I can't remember much of them, only bits and pieces, something crawling into bed next to me, speaking in my mind, trying to undo the seams of my very soul so it could take a peek inside, getting angry when I resisted, growing more aggressive, tugging at the corners of my brain the more I fought back. I woke up screaming, kicking and punching blindly. My fist connected with something meaty, and I heard a familiar voice letting out a yelp.
What the hell?
Opening my eyes, I found Dad on his ass next to the bed. His lip was split wide open, and Mom was by his side on her knees. I started, but the words got caught in my throat.
That was a pretty intense nightmare you had there.
Dad said with a smile.
I think I'll need stitches.
Looking around the room, I saw that the dresser I had dragged in front of the door was back in its place. The door and the window were open, creating a draft that pulled the cold December air inside. The instinct to just bolt right then and there kicked in, but I subdued it. "Where have you guys been?" I asked them. I decided to question them because maybe, just maybe, the last few days were indeed a hallucination.
To the Grand Canyon.
Mom answered and helped Dad to his feet.
You know, on the vacation we planned for, 2 months now?
Dad went to the bathroom to patch up his busted lip, leaving me and Mom alone. He looked back at me for a split second before he closed the door, his gaze filled with anger and hatred.
Sarah's friend, Amy was her name? Anyway, she called the reception of the hotel we were at and told us everything, so we rushed home to be here for you.
Okay, thank you guys. Let's go check on Dad. Maybe he needs help. Mom eyed me with suspicion, but she got up.
And don't forget to apologize to him. You clocked him pretty hard.
She added, "Will do." Something skittered in the closet, attracting my attention. I looked over, seeing the darkness inside shifting between the slits of the sliding doors. A pitch-black figure, a humanoid shape, peered back at me with dimly glowing eyes. "Can we order pizza? I'm starving," I said, walking past Mom to open the door for her.
Sure thing. And maybe an ambulance for your father as well.
"He's a big guy. He'll manage." She walked past me and into the corridor, so I pushed her away and shut the door. The bag was next to the bed along with the crowbar, and I grabbed them before I jumped out of the window. I landed outside in the grass with a heavy thud. Frantic footsteps came from inside the house. I burst into a sprint, jumping through the neighbor's yard and coming out on the next street over. The town had many roads leaving it, none of them close by, but I didn't plan to use them anyway. I ran through yards and jumped over fences, making a beeline to the closest edge of town. A forested area that I could use to my advantage. Cars didn't fit it, and I'd be harder to find among the trees. My phone rang again and again, but I didn't stop. I pulled it up and checked it between the hasty strides I took, finding it was Mom, of course, and it was only 10 p.m. or so, which meant I got a few hours of sleep less than I'd bargained for. It doesn't matter. I'll get all the sleep in the world once I'm safe. Something chased after me, slinking from one shadow to the next in the blink of an eye. I heard the tip-tap of its claws on the rooftops behind me, but whenever I whipped my head back to check, I couldn't spot it. It's the one that wants to take my place, I concluded. That threw a wrench in my plan. If it would chase me into the wilderness, I couldn't get the rest I desperately needed, but then again, if I could lead it far enough away, I could take it on one-on-one. How strong could it be if it couldn't open a measly basement door? My mad dash got me to the town's edge in about 10 minutes, and I could already see the forest from a few streets away. I jumped through the final yard in my way, with the mimic still on my tail, only to be met by a cop car swerving onto the street. Its lights and sirens were off, and the front bumper was in utter ruins, barely hanging on. I ran across the road and slid down the steep embankment, coming to a stop on the muddy soil covered with decaying leaves. The cop car pulled up behind me and its doors flew open. "Stop, kid!" one of the cops yelled. "Come back with us, we're here to help!" For a brief moment, I regretted that Sarah never recorded the voices of the two officers that went down into her basement. I was certain that if she had, I would have recognized them right now. "Leave me alone! I haven't done anything wrong!" They came down after me as I entered the sea of trees. Something hit one of the trunks right as I ducked behind it, and I worried for a moment that it was a bullet. Whipping my head around, I found one of the officers discarding a spent taser gun instead, which wasn't much better to be honest, but at the very least it would only incapacitate me. They ran after me for a few hundred feet, and I couldn't for the life of me shake them off. I tried veering away, hiding behind trees, doing everything in my power to break their line of sight. Nothing worked. They knew exactly where I was at all times. It felt like I was up against bloodhounds, not humans. Over the course of a few minutes, they gained on me. I'm just an average Joe in average physical shape, and I tried to high hell and back to top it off. I couldn't outrun two trained officers. One of them got hold of my backpack and yanked me, throwing me to the ground. I landed face first into the mush of leaves and dirt. "Calm down, kid." "No, fuck, let go!" I struggled and fought back, but the two of them subdued me. One got on top of me to hold me still, and the other pulled my hands behind my back to cuff me. My urge to fight left me as I felt my body shutting down from overexertion. The cold metal of the cuffs came around my wrists, chilling my skin in two thin strips, and they clicked into place. "You can't arrest me. I haven't done anything. I'm innocent." I tried pleading. "We're not arresting you, kid. Your parents and sister called. They're worried for you. Said you were about to run away." "So what? I'm an adult. I can disappear if I want." "Not in your current condition. Right now, you need psychiatric help," the cop answered. They pulled me to my feet and got by my sides, getting tight grips on my arms. We slowly walked back to the car as I tried to plead some more, and I had enough presence of mind to not mention anything about mimics. Even so, my cries landed on deaf ears. The mimic that chased me, was in the forest with us as well. It jumped from branch to branch, always within earshot, but never within sight. I wondered why they didn't just get it over with, why they didn't leave me there to be consumed and replaced. I was incapacitated. I couldn't fight the creature. Or maybe they had other plans for me, something more nefarious. Maybe they needed to completely break me beforehand. I tried to think as they dragged me around, to form a new plan, something, anything. When we reached the embankment, I got an idea. You see, it was steep and slippery. One wrong step and you'd eat dirt at the bottom, and that was something I could use. As we started climbing it, I prepared myself to act. When we reached halfway up, I headbutted one officer and tripped the other. They weren't expecting it, and just like I hoped they would, they slipped back down the slope. But one of them got a hold of my backpack, ripping it open and spilling my supplies everywhere. I didn't fall with them, so I jumped up the last stretch and landed on the pavement on my stomach. Getting to my feet with my hands behind my back was harder than I expected, but I heard the officers climbing again, so I needed to hurry. Screw this. As luck would have it, I'm pretty slim and flexible, so I decided to try a maneuver I've seen plenty of times in movies. I pulled my knees up into my chest, got my hands under my ass, and passed my feet between them one at a time, which makes it sound very easy and simple, but under pressure, with two officers nearing me, it really wasn't. I couldn't open or break the cuffs, but at the very least, I had my hands in front of me again. Their car was right there, and I realized that the engine was idling. In their haste, they left it running with the keys still in the ignition. I ran over to it and tried the door, letting out a sigh of relief when it did indeed open. "Hey!" one of the officers yelled as I climbed inside. Now, just because I don't have a license doesn't mean I don't know how to drive. It was stupid and risky of us, but a friend let me drive his Jeep on the back roads a few times for fun. I wasn't an expert by any means, but I knew how to throw a car into drive and push a pedal. Good thing it wasn't a manual transmission. No way in hell I could have used a clutch and steer with my hands cuffed. I sped off, leaving the two cops and the mimic behind, which, yeah, bad idea, I know. It's bad enough to steal a normal car, but to steal a cop car is much worse. I'm not sure what the repercussions are, to be honest, but I imagine it's not pretty. Still, I could probably plead insanity in a court of law if it ever comes to that. Everyone around me insists I'm crazy anyways. In that moment, the only thing that mattered was to escape. I drove to the other side of town and rummaged through the car until thankfully I found another set of keys for the cuffs. With my hands free, I planned to drive the car out of town and abandon it. There was likely a tracker or a GPS in it or something, but before I did, I wanted to do one final thing. To prove to myself that it was all real, that I wasn't completely insane. I didn't have time to find Marcus or his body. I couldn't return to Sarah's house for fear of being caught, but there was one place that I could check. The cemetery. A few minutes later, I pulled up at the gates and went inside. It was very creepy at night, to put it mildly. A sea of headstones standing tall in the darkness. Still, compared to the last few days I've been through, this didn't really faze me. I walked around for a few minutes in search of a particular headstone, the one we put on Sarah's grave. It was in the back of the cemetery, right next to her mother's. My heart stopped when I reached it and found it blank. I fell to my knees in front of it and just started sobbing.
You know, it would be so easy to cave in your head right now.
Sarah's voice from behind. I shot up to my feet and spun on my heels, coming face to face with her. She was alone, hands propped on the handle of a spade that she pushed into the soil in front of herself.
If I really wanted to kill you or harm you, I could have done it while your back was turned. Is that proof enough that I don't want to do either?
How did you know I'm here? I asked, taking a step away from her.
Because I've been through the same thing. Because I know how a broken mind thinks. You want proof, a sign, something, anything to convince you of your own delusion.
She threw the spade at my feet.
So go ahead. Dig. Find your proof. I won't stop you. But that grave is empty.
No, it's not. The stonecutters didn't get around to marking the grave yet. You just want to keep me busy so the others can get here and catch me.
I should have just smacked you over the head with that, I swear. Tell you what, if you're so sure I'm the mimic, strike me down. I won't fight back.
She fanned her arms out and even turned her back to me. I lifted the spade, but I couldn't go through with it. God fucking damn it! I yelled and threw the spade away. Why are you fucking with me? Why not show your true colors? Why not kill me like you did Marcus? Sarah put her hands down and turned around.
Marcus?
She asked and seemed genuinely dumbfounded. Marcus, the monster hunter! Stop toying with me! Your gaslighting won't work!
Clancy, there was never any Marcus or any monster hunter.
I pulled out my phone to prove her wrong, to shatter her charade. She watched me intently, but she didn't make any moves. I looked everywhere, call and text history, but I couldn't find Marcus's number. When that failed me, I pulled out my wallet to search for the business card. It was gone as well. At that point, I just gave up. What else could I do? How could I prove to myself, let alone anyone else, that I was sane? I wasn't. That much became evident even to me. Sure, I could blame the disappearance of Marcus's business card and call logs on my parents, but it didn't make sense. Nothing did. Not unless I admitted to the delusions and to needing help. Amy had been right. The mental problems likely ran in our family, and Sarah's breakdown jump-started my own. I don't...
Here, let me take you home. You can sleep, you can clear your mind, and we can both look for help starting tomorrow. How's that sound?
Sounds good. She took the lead, and I followed behind her towards the exit. It felt wrong. It felt so very wrong, but I didn't have it in me to fight anymore. I was drained. Even if I ran away, how far could I make it? I stole a damn cop car. They'd look for me relentlessly. At that point, I just wanted everything to be over with.
The 2 officers called us when you stole their car.
Sarah said as we walked. Shit.
No, listen. They called us and we talked. And they agreed not to report you on one condition. We return their car, and you seek out therapy immediately. They're not assholes. They understand you've had it rough, and they'll give you another chance.
That seems very kind of them. I'll have to make it up to them when I get better.
You do.
Sarah agreed.
And to us as well. You really put us through hell.
I know, and I'm sorry. Sarah smiled, a wide, beaming smile, with no trace of anything except genuine happiness.
Apology accepted.
It's getting so bad, though. I still feel watched, even now. I still hear the cracks in your voice, in everyone's voices.
I hear the cracks in yours as well. So welcome to the Mimic Club, I guess. Next target is old man Jenkins down the road. I have the whole plan ready. We'll make him believe reptilians are real.
That's gonna be tricky. I don't even know how to transform yet.
All in due time.
She assured me.
We'll teach you, young mimic.
We left the cemetery, finding Amy and the 2 officers waiting outside. I apologized profusely while they laughed and assured me all was fine. They took their keys back and I left.
We're going to my house, by the way. Dad drove himself and your mom over when you ran from their house. They thought maybe you'd come to my place.
The rest of the ride was silent, and when we got there, I did indeed see Dad's car outside. The 2 of them waited in the living room for our return, and they jumped on me as soon as I entered through the door. They hugged me and cried, and Mom bombarded my cheeks with kisses.
Give him some room, you guys. And you, get some sleep right away. You'll feel much better in the morning.
It felt so strange, so surreal, being back at Sarah's place, I mean. I wasn't gone for too long, but it felt like I'd ran away from here an eternity ago. My life had changed so drastically overnight. I'd been through so much in a matter of mere days. In all honesty, it was as fascinating to think about as it was terrifying.
So that's what started it all.
Dad said with a wide smile, looking over at the basement door laying open.
A goddamn basement of all things. You know,
He continued, turning to look at Sarah.
you were always afraid of the dark as a kid.
Was I? I don't really remember.
I had to check inside your closet and under your bed for boogeymen every night until you turned 10.
I guess it is pretty scary.
Sarah mumbled and walked over to the door.
But there's nothing down there. Take a look.
I made my way next to her, and she flipped the light switch next to the door. A light bulb down in the room came to life, chasing away the shadows and darkness. And indeed, it was a normal room with nothing strange about it, at least as far as basements go anyway. The walls and ceilings weren't charred. There was no trace of soot. Even the concrete at the bottom was spotless. To think, we both went insane over a bit of darkness, I said as I peered down the stairs leading to the bottom. Right? But Sarah didn't answer me. No one did. The room fell completely silent, and I felt a pair of hands pushing me from behind. I tumbled down the stairs, landing at the bottom. The door to the basement closed shut. I tried to get up, but stumbled, so I skittered up the stairs on all fours. The clicks of the locks being latched reached me right before the lights went out, and I crashed into the door. I trusted you! I yelled and started banging on the door with desperation. I'm not insane! You're mimics, all of you! I knew it! I kept banging on the door and pleading, but no one responded. Not a damn word. The bastards wouldn't even entertain me with a clear-cut answer. I yelled until my throat went raw. I punched and kicked the door until my hands and feet turned bloody, but I couldn't break free. They finally got me. Please! I let out in a raspy voice as I slid down the door to my knees. Is anyone there? Sarah, open the door. Nothing. I waited for hours, but I didn't hear anything from upstairs. Not a single peep. They just left me down here, unsure of what was real anymore. I tried to sleep, to get some rest at the very least, but I can't even do that. I'm alone in the room. I know as much for a fact, but I feel eyes on me whenever I lay down. This is it for me. The end of the line. I can't keep this up forever. I'm growing too tired and hungry. When I collapse, they'll get me, I'm sure of it. I'll become just another one of those things, or it'll steal my appearance and masquerade as me while they take over the town. I can't escape. All I can do is warn you. Stay away from this place. And whatever you do, don't believe a word I say, because I might be one of them. So, you know what's even more of a twist? The fact that I didn't even use the visualizer. So, like, when you're done with the video, come back to the beginning, and then this will make more sense. Because I went to the visualizer webpage, but I couldn't figure it out. So I'm just gonna, like, slap of a picture of me. I'm gonna, like, take a quick picture of my face. I'm gonna be like, and then I'm gonna, like, put that in the, background. Disclaimer, I got way too drunk before making this video, so like it doesn't really go anywhere, and I think it ends kind of abruptly. I can't remember what the last thing I said before I decided to stop recording was, so oh shit, I think I'm recording over the audio that I already recorded. Wait, let me crap, wait one sec. All right. Oh snap, I don't want you to be able to see my browser top part. How do I fix that? Let me press F12 on this. Let's see if this does it. Oh, it did it. Damn. Okay, wait. Let me fix this over here in OBS now. They'll never know. Okay, so here's what I'm doing. I'm reading some stories. I'm kind of a little bit drunk. Not really. Well, actually, yes, I am completely. I don't know why I said not really. But I'm going to read some stories for you all. I'm going to do some sound design. I'm going to then do the music, and we're going to see how it turns out. Here's the first one. It's called Chess Player, original. Side note also, I am reading these from a Russian website, a Russian creepypasta website, and then I'm translating it to English. So if anything sounds weird, it's because it was originally written in Russian. Okay, you may hear my computer fan turn on and get real loud because it's stupid. But here we go. Chess Player, original. Hello, everyone. This is Hisu. I decided to write a short introduction. Okay, I need to interject real quick. All of my little tabs, my bookmark tabs are gone for some reason. I don't know why, but now I can't find the websites that I use to translate the stories. So, this video is going to be real out of order. Because I don't know where all my bookmarks went, and so now I can't find the website that I used with the translated stories. So, perhaps you were asking why the original? Well, because the story is fully consistent with the description. The story of check and checkmate, or the story of chess player, is not original. A tall man with a tall hat, a white mask, and a red nose in his breast pocket. She called him the Dark Chess Player. He does not look like a black and white guy with a black blade in his hand. Well, enough discussions. Everyone has their own opinion. Enjoy reading. My name is William Dwight. I will tell you my story. I remember that from my childhood, I always wanted to become an excellent chess player, although I hardly understood all the rules, but I thought it was a really good idea to learn how to play. At the age of 7, I started taking lessons, and then I realized that it was fun. Okay, you know what? Side note, I just recorded a whole long thing about something that I said about the visualizer, because later on in the video it talks about some stuff that you can't see because it's not in the video. For OBS didn't actually record what I thought it did, so it's just the visualizer, but I'm talking about stuff and you're gonna be like, what's he talking about? Because I can't see it on the screen. But it's just the visualizer, and I just recorded a segment explaining that, but then Audition crashed because Adobe fucking sucks, and they can't make shit that doesn't crash. Every time I try to make a video, it's crashing every 2 seconds. But anyway, like I was saying, that's why it's not there. The video is not there of me doing what I'm saying is in the video. So when you're listening to it, just keep that in mind, that that's the reason that it's not there. I'll probably throw this in. I'll probably give them the old hand shuffle, switch it up real quick, put my hands up, like halfway through the video or something. I don't know. I'll probably put it somewhere before
where the parts with the OBS visuals come in, but I guess you'll kind of see that. Anyway, back to the audio.
I still remember my first game. I won. I was very proud of myself, but now, after 12 long years, I've become a real master at this. Nobody could beat me, even if the opponent knew the game well. I've always won, so maybe I can say that my dream has come true. I have never been very sociable. I don't have many friends, but I had one single best friend, Garrett. I met him when I was 8 years old. I met him after I started playing chess. He also played them. Garrett was only a year younger than me, but that didn't matter. We played our first match, and I realized a huge similarity between ourselves, so since then we became best friends. Sometimes Garrett was a little quiet, but it didn't matter. I didn't talk much either. I loved to play. Some of my classmates thought I was a freak, but that didn't matter. At least I had Garrett, and he had me. But over the years, Garrett became more outgoing and stopped caring about chess. But not me. Chess was my life. I could not imagine life without it. Once we even quarreled with him because of this. He said that I was too obsessed with it, but I ignored him. Garrett was wrong. He did not talk to each other for 3 days.
Also, this is more further. This is like on the side. This is like a side thing, kind of like a PS, like at the end of a letter, but it's an audio. So this is kind of like a side thing. My fan is going crazy right now, but I'm over here doing the sound design, right? And like I just realized that none of these stories are good. They all suck. None of them are interesting. They're all kind of boring. There's literally no sound design for me to do in any of them, so I'm sitting here trying to do sound design, but I'm like super bored. I should have picked some better stories. But I don't get drunk very often, that's the thing, so I'm trying not to kind of like, waste this reading. So I hope these stories are entertainable for some of you. If not, I'll try to pick some funnier stories next time. But with that said, I don't think that's why I started this recording, but it's what I said now. I'm pretty sure I originally was like, hey, I need to record something else real quick to tell people something in the middle of this, at this part that I was just listening to. But these are the words I'm saying at this time. I don't know if they're relevant to what's actually happening, but we will see. I highly doubt it.
We did not talk to each other for 3 days, that's right. But after that, we decided everything had and became friends again. When I was 14 and Garrett was 13, we fought a lot, but this did not destroy our friendship, and I was about it. I'm 19 now, and we're still pretty good friends, although Garrett spends most of his time flirting with girls, and I keep playing. I don't know why I continue to play chess. They are just too interesting to me, but Garrett says that it is stupid and boring. There were times when he was very aggressive with me. It didn't sound like him at all, but this time, it went too far, even for me. Hi, Garrett. Any plans for tonight? I just thought we could play a match after school. How do you like the idea? I asked him, leaving the class. Garrett was talking to a girl in the corridor this time.
Well, are you an idiot or something? Who the hell cares about your stupid chess?
I stopped playing. No, wait.
I stopped playing them a long time ago, and you still don't believe? Well, fuck off, the freak.
Garrett knocked the books out of my hand, dropping them to the floor. He and the girl laughed and glared at me. I picked up my books and walked slowly away. Finally, I heard Garrett's sarcastic words.
Mighty and invincible William Dwight.
I broke down and ran. Tears formed at the corners of his eyes. At that moment, our friendship was destroyed forever. Yes, destroyed forever. Crying, I ran home, soaked through. It was raining outside. I quickly went upstairs and slammed the door of my room. I was sure that my father heard this, after all. He was not deaf, but at the time I didn't care. In tears, I dropped the books on the floor and sat down on the bed. I could not believe it.
Okay, like, this is like several hours later after I've recorded that other stuff you heard her before. But I wanted to come back in here and tell you all this story, right? Okay, so like when I was like 13, there was this girl I liked, right? And I was like, yo, grandma, how do I get this girl to like me? And my grandma back then, she made soaps and like lotions and stuff. She would like make all this stuff. She was like making soaps and lotions. And she was like, yo, ask her what her favorite color is. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna make her a basket with soaps, lotions, and all this other shit. And it's gonna be her favorite color. And I was like, yo, grandma, her favorite color is purple. And so we made like this basket of shit, and it was like soap, lotion, and whatever other shit I said. And it was purple. And then like I went back and I gave it to her. I was like, yo, you wanna go out with me? We can watch like I don't know, Tsunami or something. And she was like, whoa, that's crazy, you made me some soap. And then that's how I got my first girlfriend. But that's a little story I wanted to tell. I think it's like 2 a.m. right now, but I'm still a little drunk, so I came in here and told you all this story. But I'll probably slap this like somewhere in the middle of this drunk nonsense that's going on, so that's cool, yeah. What is? I'm out.
Why did this happen to me? Is it because the chess? Why was he yelling at me? Why was he so angry about playing chess? Are we no longer friends? No, that's for sure. He will never be my friend again. The door of my room opened. Behind her stood her father with a restless face.
William, is everything all right? Something happened?
He said, sitting down next to me. Leave me alone. I'm fine. We have nothing to talk about.
Hey, you can tell me everything. Just like sharing everything with my mother. I mean, before the accident.
Yes, my mother died in a terrible accident when I was 14 years old. All right, what is this story even about? I'm just gonna pause this real quick. What is this about? This guy likes chess or something, and his friend doesn't like chess, so he yelled at him about liking chess? God, this is like the most boring story I've ever read in my life. Forget this, I'm going to another one. Jesus Christ. Director Allen. What is this? Hold on, wait, it's gotta translate. Translate that. To Somali? Nah, not Somali. We gotta, how do I fix this? How do I translate this page? Director Allen. Okay. The director of the Monsters Academy sat in his office and checked it. Full screen. Oh, that's not F12. The director of the Monster Academy sat in his office and checked the documents. Once the director Allen came to teach Luis a request to leave the office. Excuse me, I'm sorry about that. And how you burned the office with smoke and fainting the smell of smoke died. Allen Viabila office and ran the course of protection. That's not even a word. Avaranoho, not use. All right, this clearly didn't translate. This isn't going well. This is not going well at all. Stone. Let's click on stone up here in the tab in the top box. No, the main, it changed. Let's see here. Those who come in the night. Okay, let's try that one out. Let's see how this is. This story is called Those Who Come in the Night. From the day of its birth, mankind is afraid of the dark. We have acquired electric light, portable flashlights, candles. We are not afraid of the dark. We call the fear of the unknown that hides in the darkness scotophobia. I don't know if that's correct, but deep inside each of us still lives deep inside our distant ancestor, huddled in horror by the fire in a cave, waiting in fear for the dawn to come. But they come at night. The night shifts as is a special side of life. It is easy to recognize us by the bags under our eyes, by the shuffling gait, by the direction in which we move. When you go to work or study on the subway, we always go towards you. Night work is an ordeal for the body. Anyone who does not believe can go into any medical encyclopedia and see what such a violation of biorhythms leads to. Sleep disturbances, loss of muscle tone, overweight, hormonal imbalances, deterioration of intellectual activity, a general decline of the body. According to the laws of most countries, we are supposed to pay extra for harm. A miserable 5%. Somewhere more, somewhere less. Indeed. Why are we needed at all? Night workers of hotels, eateries, subways, cleaners, salespeople, police officers. Oh, what the hell was that sound? Something just made a sound in my computer. What was that? Is it because I'm recording with OBS? Oh, the alert box for the live stream is still up. Let me see. Get that shit out of here. Making sounds telling me when people subscribe. All right, that's gone now. Anyway, where were we? Who needs us? We are serving ourselves. You daytime people have an instinct that makes you climb into your warm holes. Only the sparkling ball leaves the sky. Only those who are emboldened by alcohol, oh shit, that's me because I'm fucking drunk right now, are blinded by love. Allow those themselves to walk at night among those who have settled in a drug addicts, prostitutes, and homeless people. Although they disappear from the sleep at the hour of suicide. All right. What is this story? This story makes no goddamn sense. What is this, gibberish? It's straight gibberish. All right, let's try a different website. Let's get out of here. Let's go to this other one I've saved, which is, I think, in Hindi. Oh, no, that's Japanese. Go to Hindi. Yeah, I think this is Hindi. All right, we're reading Hindi horror stories now. Let's click on this one. Let's translate that. Oh, wait, no, that translated into Somali. Let's translate that back to English. The murder of the Smith sisters. All right, let's try this out. A girl knows a boy in the message. Crazy, 186. Hey, peace. Girl, beautiful girl, 91. Who is? Crazy, 816. Your hidden fan, beautiful girl, 91. Really? Really? Enough of lies. Who is it? Madness, 186. I fell in love with you from the first moment I looked into your eyes. Crazy, 186. I've been thinking about you all day. My dream has come true. Crazy, 186. We meet once, but I'm not sure you remember. No, we met once. Madness, 186. Is this like a chat room with like 60 different people? What is this? The girl was very scared and closed all the doors and windows. She made sure the room was guarded, not sure if it was a joke or not. I didn't know when he was coming. The girl was so... Wait, who am I in this story? Because it seems like I'm neither of these people. I'm neither the girl or the person that's stalking her. I'm someone else, I guess? Just someone, I don't know, crouching in the bushes? All right, whatever. The girl was so scared she decided to sleep with her younger sister. The girl fell asleep quickly. The next night, she heard a knock on the window. I'm going to put some sound effects of knocking in right here. I think it's going to be pretty good. We'll see how that sounds. She slowly approached. The knock began to damp smell. Maybe her sister wet the bed. The girl looked and found blood everywhere. She's under pressure. She didn't know what to do. She wanted to hide in her room if he killed her. And, all right, this story's boring. Let's go to, over here on the left, we see some Jeff dies. Let's try that out. Click that shit. Click it, click it. Bam, bam. It's loading. Waiting for it to load. It's taking a long time to load. Where's my juice liquid I was drinking? Hold on. What's this happening now? Ah, shit, it like fucking crashed. What? Result Chung? What does that even mean? Who are these people? Okay, translate this. I actually need to fix this translator. It keeps translating it to Somali. Let's translate it to English, and possibly this will make more sense. The Smith sisters' anonymous murder. Wait, this is the story I just read. I wanted to go to that Jeff Dye's story. Where is it? Jeff the Killer. Oh, I've already read this. In fact, I was drunk last time I read it too, so we can't do that twice. Slendermensch. Let's try this one. Slenderman is a modern myth, a quiet, faceless creature who looks out of the darkness as a human figure. He usually travels in an invisible world unless he is caught on film. If you saw him, you caught his attention, and it's too late. Even thinking about him is dangerous. In June 2009, users of the Something Awful forum gathered together to make fake natural images to perform pranks. Some of the images they created were indeed leaked all over the internet, which was presented as proof of the supernatural when a user named Victor Surge posted 2 images to the mysterious figure in the company of children created something special of the original image that was uploaded that users. In addition, he posted 2 pieces of text along with the images, which were, in the months and years that followed, used as seeds of the myth. Alright, okay, alright, I'm clearly already way too drunk for this. Wait, no, K, wait, no, already, K, I'm too drunk for this, that's what I'm trying to say. Those are the words, the correct words. So let's go to my YouTube channel. Let's go to one of these stories that I've recently done. Let's choose, actually, let's sort by whichever video has the most views. Which one has the most views? That would be the I Know Why We Will Never Return to the Moon video. So let's click on this. Shut up, me. I don't want to hear that crap. Quiet. Wait, what's this? Rest in peace, Tarkov. He died doing what Russians do, helping Americans while looking like the bad guy. I don't get that. 2 reasons this channel. Oh, well, that's nice. Thank you. It's actually a decent sci-fi story. It was enough to keep me listening. Anyway, hey. Hey. I'm going to type to reply to this guy. Hey. Thanks. Hey, God. Thanks. Smiley. No. Give him a smiley face. Anyway, what are we doing? Oh, that's right. We're here to... No, that's Spotify. Get that crap out of here. No, quiet. What's happening? Jeez, oh, the story's playing and I'm not sure what's happening. How do I get to the story? How do I get to the Reddit? Did I not link it in the description? Am I a simpleton? Why would I not have done that? Okay, hold on, wait. Okay, hold on. I know why we never return to the moon. Let's type that into Google. Let's see what comes up. Bring up the Reddit story, please. There it is. Let's fix this real quick because it really needs to be in the description for the story. Let's type this in right here. Original story on Reddit. Wait, no. Wait. Wait. God. Okay, there we go. All right, so there we go. Now we got the original link in the story. I should have done that from the beginning. How dare I? Okay, so let's translate this to... Let's translate that to Cubueno. I don't know what language that is. And then we'll use this other Google plugin I have to translate that to English. And then we'll read this. And the story changed to, I Know Why We Never Went Back to the Moon. Here we go. My grandfather was a pilot. Even if he always felt distant, I liked him. As I gathered, I realized he was always aware, always looking for signs of danger. Shell shock, PTSD, many names for it. My mother told me she wasn't like she used to be, that she was changing on her return from Vietnam. My grandfather's profession was what made me worried about space, astronauts, airplanes, and pilots. We've said it before when we're together. He was a truly skilled and high-ranking army officer, and he went a few people. No, and he knew a few people, even a couple famous astronauts. When I asked him if we met anyone who went to the moon, he simply replied, "Don't you ever ask me about the moon, boy. It's a dark and evil place." The problem with this was that I underestimated how drunk I would need to be to make this video. I was kind of drunk before deciding to record, and then I was like, hey, you know, it'd be fun recording some stories. And then I was like, yeah, I'll take 2 more shots, and then I'll come in here and record some stories. But the problem is I'm a lightweight, and I couldn't, and those 2 shots really messed me up. And I don't even know where I am or what's happening. And I was referred by a temp agency. I had no idea who I was working for or what the job would entail. I only knew that the pay was good. A week-long excursion at $7.25 a night, more than enough to pay off a couple credit card bills and a good chunk of next month's rent. For that price, I would have done almost anything. I only wish I knew at the time what I was getting myself into. When I arrived at the address, I was surprised. It was a large facility at the end of a dirt road in the woods, 2 towns over. The large sign outside read Synthetic Corp. It was a plain, white, 3-story building, void of identifying markings. Its appearance gave me no clue to its purpose. Its location was even more baffling. Going off the name alone, I had to assume it was some sort of biotech company. I was probably needed to clean up radioactive waste or something to that end. For what they were paying me, I would be happy to risk my health. Upon entering the building, I was meeting with the receptionist. I was directed to room 371 on the 2nd floor, where I would wait for Al, my new boss. It was your standard office setting, albeit more quaint than usual. Red carpet, white walls, no windows. Only 6 desks in 3 rows of 2, each with their own computer. At the back of the room was a large wall covered by a one-way mirror, an opening with steps on either side of it. Inside was a single chair, desk, and landline phone, probably a place for the supervisors to oversee productivity. Other than that, the room harbored no points of interest, unless you fancied the waste bin and the fern in the corner. An old gentleman opened the door to the room and came over to shake my hand, introducing himself as Al. He seemed to be in a rush, wasting no time in describing the task at hand. I was to stay in that very room from 8 p.m. until 6 a.m. the following day, every night for a week. He left me his cell phone number and a laminated list of rules to follow. He told me he could not overstate enough the importance of following each and every one, exactly as they were outlined. Once he was sure I understood the gravity of the situation, he left me to my first shift in peace, closing the door behind him. That was it? Really? Just stay in the room for 10 hours a night? I had no clue as to why I was being paid over $5,000 to room sit, but I learned some time ago to never look a gift horse in the mouth. I simply sat down at the overseer's room with a smile on my face and went over the list of rules. There were 10 in total. All of them left me more than a little confused. 1. Once 8 rolls around, lock the door, and do not leave the room for any reason until 6. Plan your bathroom usage and meal periods accordingly. No food or drink items within the room. Do not use Hank's computer. It's the closest to the exit. No one is ever to touch it under any circumstances, not even Hank. If the phone rings, answer it, but do not talk. No matter what the voice on the other end says, you are not to respond. Hang up after 2 minutes have passed. Do not let the janitor in. We don't have one. If anyone else comes to the floor, let them in, but ignore them. Do not react whatsoever. When they leave, shut the door and lock it behind them. If the waste bin changes locations, place it back in the corner as soon as you notice. If I stop by, only let me in if I know the password. At 9:30 precisely, set each of the computer's home screens to different URLs except Hank's. Do not react to the images. Act normal. If you see Harvey, feed him one of the treats from Lisa's desk, the one opposite Hank's. If there's an emergency, call my cell, but not after 10:05 p.m. Below the last rule was a final sentiment, scribbled over the laminate in pen. No one has made it past night 3. Good luck. I was perplexed, wondering for a moment if Al was a lunatic and if that was the reason no one else had lasted. Perhaps his quirks were too much for the previous candidates and they backed out, fearing for their safety at the hands of this fragile mind. I would not be swayed so easily. Even if Al was crazy, I would be happy to take his money for what was shaping up to be a very simple job. At least, that's what I thought. Day 1 was utterly boring. Nothing remarkable happened, definitely not anything to the extent of what Al's list would have me expect. At 9:30, I even changed the URLs on the computers, if for no other reason than to feel somewhat useful. The next night, however, was a little different. Day 2 started as it normally did. I settled in for another long night, making sure to eat and empty my bladder before locking myself in. At 9:25, just as I was about to ready myself to change the home screens again, I saw it. The waste bin was right there at the top of the steps to the overseer's room. I certainly hadn't placed it there. I felt a small spike in my adrenaline before calming down with a smile. The waste bin, the list, it was all a joke at my expense. Al would be in the next room, waiting anxiously to see the look on my face. I raced out of the office door. There was no one there. I walked over to the exit and shook the knob. It was still locked. Confused and a tinge scared, I swiftly picked up the waste bin and walked it back over to the corner of the room. I checked the time, 9:30. I started changing the URLs on all of the computers, hoping desperately that I had imagined what just occurred. After skipping Hank's desk, I typed in the last website on PC number 6. I was about to pull away when some strange imagery manifested on the screen. It was surveillance footage of the room. The very room I was in. I saw me looking at the computer. I turned and looked up, but there was no camera. Upon looking back at the screen, I saw something terrifying. I watched as a copy of me stepped out from the overseer's room. It walked up behind me, grabbed a hard drive from one of the desks, and wound up to strike me in the back of the head. I quickly turned to shield myself. There was no one there. I turned back and the screen changed, displaying the website I had entered as normal. I raced back to the overseer's room and sat down, more than a bit frazzled. I contemplated walking out, but I steeled myself to continue. I was fine, after all. Maybe Al wasn't a lunatic, but he didn't seem the type to wish me any harm. Not that I knew him all that well. Still, I hadn't sustained any injury. I was questioning my sanity, yes, but no bodily injuries had befallen me. Whatever was at play here seemed harmless so far. There was a loud banging. Having just had the most horrifying experience in my life, I nearly jumped out of my skin. A voice then penetrated the door.
It's the janitor. I'm just here to clean up. Can you open the door?
I recalled rule number 4 and denied him entry. You did good not letting him in. You followed the rule. Now you're fine. So long as you follow the rules, you'll be safe. It's as simple as that. You can see this through. I jumped again.
I really need to get in there to clean up. Open the door.
I took a deep breath and peeled back my anxiety, successfully ignoring the janitor until he left. This was an accomplishment for me, and it actually felt pretty good. A challenge that I was able to best. Though I remained on the edge of my seat, the next few hours were uneventful. I even dozed off for a moment at one point. It wasn't until 2:30 a.m. that my next challenge would come. A multicolored cat jumped up on the desk in front of me, complete with beautiful splotches of black and orange. I was startled, but it seemed to be friendly, brushing up against my arm, the name on its collar, Harvey. I knew what I had to do. I rummaged through Lisa's desk, found the jar of treats, and fed Harvey one, to which he purred in delight. To my astonishment, He then charged at the door, phasing right through it. My mouth was agape in awe. Once my initial bewilderment dissipated, it was replaced with satisfaction over another small victory. As strange as it may sound, I was beginning to like the job. It was the landline. Remembering the rules, I removed it from the receiver and held it to my ear, making sure to keep an eye on the time.
Hey, it's Al. I'm just going to be stopping by pretty soon to do a little work. How's the job treating you so far?
I remained silent.
Hello? You know you can talk if it's me, right?
I picked up the set of rules and looked them over. There was nothing about Al calling. I didn't respond.
This is no way to treat your employer. If you don't say anything, I'll have no choice but to fire you. Do you really want that?
I stood my ground. Only 20 seconds to go.
Fine. I'll see you soon to relieve you of your duty. I guess you couldn't even make it past night 2.
The 2-minute mark came and I hung up on him. I felt safe as another hour went by, reflecting on the trials I had faced thus far. I was bewildered but determined. I wasn't going to let the room cloud my judgment. I was in control.
It's Lisa. Can I come in?
Though hesitant, I had to abide by Rule 5. I opened the door and a woman entered.
You must be the new guy. What do you think of the place?
I went back to my desk in the overseer's room and sat down, trying my best to act casual. Lisa walked up to the glass, knowing I could see through it.
Not very talkative, are you?
Her eyes unnaturally darted around in all directions, and her skin drooped a bit, almost as if it was falling off the bone. I didn't answer. She didn't speak again. Instead, she stared at the glass for a long time, long enough to leave me feeling truly unsettled. She then waltzed in and stopped at my side, raising her arm. I hoped she wouldn't notice that my breathing had become sporadic and labored. She then violently swung down on the desk, creating a thunderous clap. I almost winced, but held my composure. After another awkward 5 minutes or so, she left. I ran to the door and locked it behind her. A few moments later, there was yet another knock. This time it was a boy, claiming to be searching for his father. I let him in and sat back down. He tried many times to ask for my help, but I was careful to ignore him, just as I had with Lisa. At one point, however, I made the mistake of meeting his gaze. For an instant, in between blinks, his eyes became pitch black, void of all color. Startled, I nearly jolted back, but was able to restrain myself. Like Lisa before him, the boy eventually left, and I quickly locked the door behind him. Another rule followed. Other than the waste bin moving around a few times, nothing else happened that night. Before I knew it, it was time to go home. I heavily considered calling it quits, and may have even had a nightmare or two upon sleeping that day. But I found myself excited to continue, wondering what obstacles the room would throw at me next. Curiosity shouldn't have been enough to bring me back, but all rational trains of thought escaped me. The room had this pull that beckoned me to it. I was hopelessly compelled to return, powerless to its call. Any excuse would have sufficed. As such, I resumed my post the following night. Upon starting my shift, I was confident. I had dealt with quite a few absurdities up to this point, and waited patiently for my next opportunity. A couple of hours went by with no trouble. No cat, no images on the computers, no phone calls, and no waste bin antics. Boredom was beginning to set in when a loud knocking broke the silence. There was no voice. I yelled out from the overseer's room.
Who is it?
I asked. There was a brief pause.
It's me, Val.
I picked up the list and reread rule number 7.
What's the password?
I heard him chuckle to himself.
I never wrote down a password.
He was right. There was no password written with the rule. It must have been him. I cautiously made my way to the door and opened it. Al was there to greet me with a smile. I sighed in relief.
Let me guess, scared of the things that go bump in the night?
He laughed at my clear, nervous disposition.
You have no idea.
He shut the door and set up some things at one of the computers.
Say, why didn't you write down a password?
I asked. He smiled again.
It's a ploy. Anyone posing as me might try to come up with one, which would identify them as not being me. Understand? I see. Good thinking.
He returned to work at his computer. I didn't want to bother him, but I just had to know. What is this place anyway? Why do these things happen here? He turned to face me. It's best if you don't ask questions, especially ones that are far above your pay grade. I wasn't happy with my answer, but I knew it was all I could get out of him. I let him work in peace and sat back down in the overseer's room, watching through the one-way glass. That's when I realized something. The computer Al was using, it was Hank's. I double-checked the list to make sure. Yes, that was definitely Hank's desk. No one was to touch his computer. Didn't that apply to Al as well? I turned over the list on the off chance I might find more information. That's when my heart sank. In large, bold print on the back of the laminated sheet was text that read, "Password, Diner." I grabbed my phone, reached for the scrap of papers with Al's number on it, and dialed it as fast as I could. There was a few tones, but he finally picked up.
Hello? Everything all right over there?
Al, thank goodness. I made a mistake. I thought he was you. I let him in, and now he's on Hank's computer. He let out a long sigh of disappointment. I watched as Al's copy turned from his computer and then stood up.
Listen very carefully. Do not act suspicious in any way. You should be fine if he doesn't suspect anything. If you try to leave or call anyone, it'll all be over, understand?
Yes, I understand.